What's up, everybody? Welcome to the newest episode of the Debate Mates. I'm your host, Matthew Swanberg, and I'm honored to be joined today once again by the OG debate mate, Nathan Povlin.
What's good, guys?
Feels
good.
Feels good. Even though the Celtics are tied 2-2, feels good?
No, it doesn't. That doesn't feel particularly good, and you know that after last night, I didn't get any sleep.
So starting the episode off with a lie, Nathan saying he's feeling good after a 2-2
Well, I feel good in general, but
series.
then you bring that up, and then I realize how we choke, and then that.
Well, we're going to be bringing that up a lot today because, of course, we're going to be talking about the NBA Finals. That's what the majority of this video is going to be about.
The season is coming to a close. We're going to crown the 75th champion.
And it might very well not be the Boston Celtics, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm sure we'll have some predictions towards the end of the video about that.
Yeah,
and then after we get some finals talk out of the way, depending on how long we've gone, we got some Deandre Ayton rumors. He does not want to re-sign with Phoenix after his rookie contract expires, and they didn't offer him the rookie extension. We have... I keep wanting to say James Borrego is the coach of the Hornets, even though he just got fired. We have Kenny Atkinson, new head coach of the Charlotte Hornets. Mm-hmm. And we got Rudy Gobert trade rumors going crazy every single day. A new one pops up. So we got a couple of topics we'll get to a little bit later if we have the time. But before we get into anything, make sure you like this video, subscribe, help us defeat the algorithm. We've been sitting around the same number of subscribers for a little while now, and I think that's partially on us because we stopped releasing content for like a month and a half. But we're coming back at it, as you can tell. This is like our second video in as many weeks, so...
Yeah, we're trying. Just tell everybody, tell all your friends, watch all our videos because you know every single one's a banger. Exactly. If you're already subscribed, you know what it is around here.
When you see these faces, that's how you know you're in for a good video. But yeah, make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment, share. If you have any questions about the NBA, we'd love to discuss them. And
we want to hear all your takes. Comment, whatever you want.
Especially as we get into the off season.
Oh yeah, 100%. One of the more exciting times for us to do videos and talk. So much ifs, so much predictions, so much excitement surrounding teams trying to get better, trying to squeeze their way to the top, and teams trying to stay at the top. Right. So like, comment, subscribe, tell everybody you know if they like basketball, anybody, just spread the word because
or if they just like watching two handsome guys
talk basketball, yeah,
or just talk in general. They don't even need to like basketball. And make sure you follow us on Instagram and Twitter at the Debate Mates. So without further ado, the Celtics collapsed last night. Let's face it, they should be up 3-1 today. Nathan, you're the resident Celtics fan. Why don't you get us started off? What went wrong for Boston, or you could go on the other side. What went right for Golden State?
I could go on both. Honestly, what I was really surprised about was, like, if you've been watching the finals, and I think I told Matthew this, we seem to be, like, the worst third quarter team. And one thing that stuck out to me last night is that we actually had a pretty solid third quarter, but just absolutely choked the back end of the fourth. And usually, our point differential on the Warriors in the first 3 games in the fourth quarter was plus 40. And so I was expecting us to close it out pretty nicely, but I think towards the back half, the Warriors started hitting their shots. Clay, Curry started hitting their shots, and then we decided to instead of going and driving into the paint, that's been working not just in this game, but in the entire series because of... we're just being attacking and destroying into the paint. Draymond's been almost non-existent down there, and Kevin Looney tries his best, but he's like 6'9". It's just not really good down there for them defensively, interior. And instead of attacking, we started taking these contested and these stupid threes, and they were trying. It was 97-94, and they kept trying to tie it up, and I'm sitting there frustrated. And then before you know it, Curry hits a three, and that's why you had to have attacked the paint. The Warriors, they just clicked towards the back half. They just started making their shots, because they were really struggling in the first couple quarters to make shots, and then all of a sudden they were hitting stuff, and Boston went away from what they should have been doing, trying to get easy buckets, trying to get points to the line, just keep right in there as close, 1 to 2 points within the lead, in case Curry does hit a three, and takes them back, because now it's closer instead of already being down 6 points. You know what I mean? Right. And I think you brought up a good point last night that it's probably just the lack of experience the Celtics have. This is still, their stars are still super young. This is a young, inexperienced team, hasn't gotten this far.
Even their veterans, Al Horford, this is his first
finals. Yeah. So this is a very inexperienced team and a rookie head coach still. So as amazing as he's been, we still have to realize this is his very first season. So yeah, I think what you said, I think it was just a lack of experience and just a complete meltdown on the offensive side of the ball, which is where we struggle more. I mean, let's be frank. We're a really good defensive team, but sometimes we can be super shaky and inconsistent offensively.
Yeah, and I almost think there was more pressure on Boston in that fourth quarter last night, even though they were the ones on the verge of going up 3-1. Because they have that lack of experience, I think a closeout game was going to be a lot more difficult. And being tied, if Golden State went into Game 5, even if they were down 3-1 in Golden State, they're confident they can win it. And then they just got to get a little spark Game 6 and Game 7, anything can happen. And Golden State, as a veteran team, I think probably feels pretty confident that even down 3-1 with 2 of the next 3 games potentially being on their home court, that they could still make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Boston, on the other hand, I don't know if they really think they can go win 2 more games in Golden State. Or not lose 2 games in Golden State. Because they're going to have to win Game 5.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be difficult for them now. Because they got to win, at least, they got to split with Golden State at home, and they cannot lose at home.
Well, I mean, this team does tend to do better on the road.
Right.
For whatever reason.
Neither of these teams has lost back-to-back yet this entire postseason.
Both teams, they both have a road win and a home win, which is very interesting. It's very split. So, I mean, that just proves to me, though, that Boston very much can go win on the Warriors' home floor, but the Warriors could just as easily go win on Boston's home court.
Right.
So, and how shaky Boston's been in the playoff home court, especially last series, I mean, yeah, I'm worried. Like if we went up 3-1, I was telling you I was a bit confident, but now that it's 2-2, it's still anybody's game, and it's looking like my 7 games prediction is looking more and more.
Yeah.
Looking more and more likely as with each passing game. I would
take advantage of Golden State right now, though.
Oh, yeah. Right now, Golden State has turned the ball. If the Celtics won at 2-1 and the ball was in their court, it's now back in Golden State's for the most part, and they control. Because now they get to go back home, and they can win, and they get an easy win. I mean, that's going to be tough for Boston to win 6 and 7. Even though they've done it, this is the Warriors we're talking about. We're not talking about a Bucks minus Chris Middleton. We're talking about a shoot the lights out offensive juggernaut, So it's going to be tough to try to win a Game 6 and 7. So Game 5 is about to be the most crucial game probably of this entire series. Because, I mean, if Boston somehow pulls out a win, I mean, that's going to be huge.
Right.
So, yeah, but no, they just completely fell. I think you'll agree. They just completely fell apart towards the back half, last 5 minutes.
I think, as I earlier said, Boston probably should be up 3-1 today. And the crazy thing is, even though Curry had 43 and 10, it didn't really feel like this was like a super nuclear Curry game. It just kind of felt like he controlled the game.
Yeah.
The entire game, not just offense. He was just the best player on the court. He's been the best player on the court this entire finals. I wouldn't be surprised, even if the Celtics do come away with this series, if Curry continues to put up the numbers he has been putting up, he might get just as many finals MVP votes as any Celtics player. I think if the Celtics
looking at a potential Jerry West situation.
I think Curry has a pretty good shot of winning Finals MVP this year, win or lose.
But I mean, if Celtics do pull it out, I think we both said last night we agree
it would be Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown has easily been the most consistent of the players in the Celtics, and he would win Finals. He'd have my vote easily. Should be unanimous for Finals MVP.
I think unanimous. I don't as far as Celtics players go, but I still think Curry will warrant a big amount of Finals MVP votes, win or lose.
Man's been incredible. I mean,
he's been the best player in the finals.
Man's averaging, I want to say, like 33 points in this series or something.
Yeah, against the elite Boston defense.
Yeah, so.
But like I was saying, I don't think he did. It wasn't like a 10-3 Curry game that we've come to expect from him when we see big points in the box score like this.
Mm-hmm.
It was just kind of he took it over. He knew when to go and hunt for his own shots. He knew when to let his teammates get the work in. Like, end of the third quarter, he got a little hot. Then I had a friend text me during the fourth quarter, and he was like, what is he doing? Curry hasn't shot at all this fourth quarter. And then at the end, when Boston was down 3, puts in a 3, gets to the free throw line a couple times with an and one that Boston tried to challenge, didn't get overturned. It was just like he knew when to pick his spots, kind of like Chris Paul has done in the past, where he just knows that he can take it over when he wants to, and he doesn't need to score 50 or try to score 60 points for them to win. He can let his teammates get their work in, and then he can go when he realizes the offense needs it. And I think that's something Curry hasn't really done in past finals as much, or he hasn't really needed to because of Kevin Durant. And now he's got that opportunity to show really what he's made of again. And he's one of the top 5 players in the NBA, I think, for sure.
Yeah, no, 100%.
And yeah, he played incredible last night. Another triple single from Draymond. So yeah, and what do you think about? Because this kind of irritated me. Draymond said after the game that he was a little irritated that he got benched during the fourth quarter. You and I were talking about is he even going to come back in with about 4:45 to go in the fourth when the Warriors started to get the game close again.
And even the commentators were mentioning like risky move, like
Right.
bold move to put Draymond on the bench.
I think Draymond shouldn't. I think it's a bad look for Draymond to come out and say he's upset about it. Because yes, you're a competitor, but also that you won. So that kind of shows.
Well, his production does not warrant him to say anything personally to me.
Right.
I mean, like game 2, if he wants to talk, because he's gonna talk. He's gonna talk whether he has a good performance or a bad performance. It's like Pat Bev. It's just what we expect at this point.
Right.
But his level of production has been atrocious. Like as a whole,
this is one of his worst defensive series of all time.
He just looks lazy and lethargic out there. I understand that he's getting older, but like when you're in the conversation for like one of the best defensive players in the league, and I see you out there like just chilling at the top of the key, just wandering and just letting people blow by you. I mean, what's that? It's just laziness.
He seems to completely misunderstand his role now with Golden State, or either Steve Kerr has decided to coach him an entirely different way. Mm-hmm. Because I don't think he's playing at all like Draymond Green when the Warriors were at their absolute best. No. He's like every possession he tries to see how many dribbles he can, like how little dribbles he can take. Like it's like 1 or 2 dribbles at the top of the key, hold the ball for 5 seconds, and try to find someone who's open and either force a tough pass or just pray to God that Steph Curry can make a bailout 3. He's like lost that ability like he had in Portland a couple years back when Kevin Durant got hurt, where he like averaged a triple-double and he could get a rebound, push the ball the entire length of the court, go at a defender, make a layup, make a tough pass. He doesn't really do that anymore. He's become way too reliant on everybody else on the team to do stuff for him. And all he does really is just stand at the top of the perimeter and just kind of wait for everybody to run around their screens. And he is pretty good at that. He was good at that in the regular season. He's got a high basketball IQ. Mm-hmm. But also the Celtics defense is not going to make mistakes and let Draymond get those passing openings. Curry's not able to come across those screens and be open or have a little sliver of daylight like he is against most other teams, which is what Draymond is used to. So Draymond hasn't really shown an ability to adjust to that, to take a couple extra dribbles and maybe see if a switch comes a little bit late, to attack a little bit. Because Boston is going to let him attack. They're sagging off on him. But he's still just shown an unwillingness to do that. So he just hasn't been able to adjust to this Boston defense, I don't think, and is still trying to play this strange way. Like, he's like a football player almost on defense, too. He's always kind of been a free safety type player where he just kind of sees who's open for Boston and tries to cover that spot in that area. But on offense now, too, he's setting moving screens left and right, just running around basically trying to tackle people so Steph Curry can get open. It's like he's not even out there playing basketball anymore, and he hasn't figured out how to adjust to this to still be Draymond Green. So he's trying to find these new ways to do it. And all they're doing, I think, is getting in his head as much as he's trying to get into their heads because he's just playing terribly.
I mean, yeah, and like him being upset. I mean, like just if you're upset, then the reason you're upset is because they had to bench you because your production and what you're doing out there is not beneficial for the team. At the end of the day, this is a team sport. It's not about you, Draymond. You're not Curry. You're not Clay. You're not this bona fide scorer. Yes, you're darn good defensively when you try, and when you actually but you're struggling against this defensive team. And if you're unhappy with what Steve Kerr is doing with you in these finals, given all your experience, you're such a god. Like change it. Be productive. Just do what you got to do. Be the Draymond of old. Like if you're really that unhappy, go and try your hardest. It just kind of looks like he's not even. There's points where he's just gassed and he doesn't even want to try. That's not going to fly in the NBA Finals. So that's why it was beneficial for them to bench him like a little bit late in the fourth, And I think it was smart because hey, the Warriors got the dub when and I think I don't know. Draymond's just a weird case. He's gonna talk, and I don't understand. If you're unhappy with it, do something about it. Like, don't get mad and blame everybody else. Like, oh, Steve Kerr, I'm not really okay with that. Well, I mean, you're not getting any younger, and it almost looks like there's times when you give up. Essentially, it's just like, whatever. It is what it is.
And what's crazy is I would almost argue Golden State's best big three this entire playoffs has been Curry, Wiggins, Looney. Wiggins has been really good.
Wiggins had 17 and 16 boards. That's another thing that the Celtics fell apart, I feel like. When you let not only Wiggins get 16, Looney had to have had, I think, 7 or 8, and then Curry had 10.
Right.
Like that was like the Celtics I watched, the Isaiah Thomas, Avery Bradley, where I would pray for someone who could rebound because we get out rebounded every single game, and then the second chance points from the other team would be like astronomical. I mean, this game we could have won this game. I mean, there were enough rebounds from Curry and Wiggins that this could have been a completely different game. If we could have just gotten the ball, gotten up there, Robert Williams was doing a fantastic job. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, there were times where he was jumping too early and he was missing boards that he definitely should have gotten. Him and Horford were. So that's another thing. But yeah, this is not the same Draymond from the dynasty. This is not the same Clay. But at least Clay's more productive than Draymond. At least Clay's trying. Like, I see Clay trying on defense. He misses quite a bit of his shots. And hopefully, I think we all hope for the best that Clay comes back at full strength next season, title or not. But, like, I don't know. This is just... And then Jordan Poole, I mean, I kind of predicted he wasn't... I wouldn't say he's had a bad series.
Right.
I mean, this is like his first finals, so, I mean, he's bound to struggle quite a bit.
When you bring up Clay, one thing about him, I think, which is why he's been better than Draymond this finals, is when he plays bad or misses shots, you see him get angry at himself. He doesn't really blame other people. I just think that's the competitor in him. He's angry at himself because he knows he's the one that can turn this around.
Yeah.
Draymond seems to like to blame other people, go on his podcast and say, oh, you guys all hate me. He's kind of trying to play this victim role now.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's not a good look.
No, it's not a good look. And he's not turning it around at all. He acts like all these haters are like fueling him or something, and then he goes out there and puts up 8, 2, and 4 on a good night with 2 blocks and a steal.
Well, see, there's a difference between being a hater and just calling it like we see it.
Right.
We're just calling it like we see it. There are Draymond haters sprinkled in, but the majority of people that are criticizing him, whether it's the NBA media or us, you know what I mean? It's constructive criticism. We're like, hey, bro, like, this is what you're doing wrong. This is how you're not benefiting the team. Rather, you're hurting the team. But he takes that and he starts complaining and crying about it. Oh, my God. Everybody's a hater. They're trying to bring me down, you know?
Preying on my downfall.
So, he'd rather go cry on his podcast than play consistent 30 to 40 minutes of top-tier Draymond basketball.
Yeah. I also think Tatum needs to step up to the Celtics. Boston's become way too reliant on Jaylen Brown to score, and Brown has played really well this series, but Jason Tatum, come on, try to, if you're going to talk about Kobe all the time, let's at least see you put some numbers up in the finals, because he's been wildly inconsistent.
I mean, he was pretty good last night, and the one thing I had problems with, he was really pretty efficient
Going into last night, though, 34% from the field.
It was like the third worst, tied for like third worst for the first 3 games of the finals
and especially when your periphery guys, Marcus Smart, Al Horford, Rob Williams, Grant Williams, aren't scoring consistently, Jaylen Brown cannot be the only consistent scorer for the Celtics. Because even Klay Thompson and Wiggins, who maybe don't have the most efficient shooting percentages, although Wiggins shots pretty well, they're still, some way or another, going to get you 15-plus a night.
Yeah.
Even Tatum has
this is just the argument of stars versus superstars, right? Jaylen Brown is a star, Tatum is a superstar, so he needs to step up and help Brown.
Jaylen Brown might be the best player on the Celtics.
I mean, Jaylen Brown, there's a reason I've been really partial to Jaylen Brown. Everyone's like,
every time you and I watch it, I think I say the same thing. He's just the most athletic guy on the court. He can do whatever he wants.
I mean, the body we saw a couple layups. We saw a couple layups for the body control was insane. The midair body control was nuts.
And he's able to just go line drive at Draymond Green.
So he's been playing. He's been playing out of his mind, you know. And Tatum struggled a bit. I mean, Tatum's been getting points, but it's the efficiency. If he can play like he did last night, there's a good shot. Like playing efficiently, I think he started out like 3 of 3 from 3 or something.
He didn't play very well in the fourth quarter. No, though. He barely got any shots in the fourth once the Celtics.
The team as a whole didn't play in the fourth quarter, and then I saw the dreaded couple. I think Marcus Smart took like 2 or 3 last minute threes.
He took 2 threes on the same possession.
Yeah, and like I just. And I'm sorry, like Marcus Smart was iffy this game too. It was like sometimes we were like, oh, smart play, like fantastic play, good pass out or good pump fake and drive in. And there were times it's like, what are you doing, bro? What was that pass? Why are you taking back-to-back threes? Give it to Brown or Tatum. For the love of God.
That actually reminded me. I know there was a play where they were down. They were up 1. Up 1 or 2. Took a pump fake. Dribbled into the free throw line a little bit closer and took a mid-range shot, and I was like, whoa, that's not something you see Marcus Smart do very often.
I'd like to see more of that.
Play. Yeah. But then after that, he kind of stopped doing it again. I don't know with the Celtics. They're just too inconsistent still.
Offensively, yes,
yeah.
we're just way too inconsistent, and then defensively, we do make mistakes. I think we do. So we do. You can't say we don't put a intense amount of pressure on Curry with
Yeah.
our double teams and our ability to switch. And so, but yeah, I mean, Curry doesn't need much room. We saw that. Two guys on either side, he can still pull in the middle, and that's just Curry. So you got to expect that. But yeah, offensively. This has always been the concern. We could say that since the Isaiah Thomas Celtics, that offensively we've always been worse than we were defensively.
Yeah.
Even we had Isaiah Thomas in the line, we had Avery Bradley, Amir Johnson, Jay Crowder. We were a pretty gnarly defensive team. But offensively we had our struggles, whether it was rebounding or just consistent scoring. This team does suffer because and what makes me mad is I know because I've seen we keep up with them for most of the game. It's just towards the back end we crumble. We tend to either we're past them or we keep up with them pretty nicely and points wise, which is impressive to me, but then fall apart and then the consistency crumbles with it. And and then they start making stupid decisions. And I'm just sorry.
So do you have what's your game 5 prediction?
Game 5 I'm taking the Celtics.
Really?
Yeah, I know you're not going to. But I'm going to take the Celtics because I think we have not lost a single back-to-back game in this entire postseason. I think that stays. I think that follows through.
I think I'm also going to pick Boston in Game 5.
Yeah, see?
I originally picked Golden State to win this series in 6. And I guess if I'm picking Boston to win in Game 5, then that prediction would no longer come true. But, I want Boston to win. I think most people at this point want Boston to win because everybody kind of hates Draymond Green right now. And Tatum is bound to have a good game at some point. He's bound to just have a 30-point masterpiece, 12 for 15 game at some point. Maybe it comes Monday night. Jaylen Brown has still been really good. Marcus Smart, I think, is a little bit more fired up in the away games.
And also, like I said, we saw what happens when I predicted it here. What happens when Marcus Smart is 20+.
I mean, Game 1 he was really good.
Yeah.
Game 3 he was really good. If the trend continues, that would mean Game 5 he would be really good in theory.
If he gets 20+ points, we don't lose.
Right.
We're 6-0 in the playoffs when he scores 20+ points. And honestly, my predictions from that one video I think have been right on point. What to look out for the most part. Tatum hasn't had his superstardom game yet. The game, all of a sudden we put Tatum into the top 10 spot. We haven't seen him be the top 10 player that we know he is. We know he can go and drop 40, 50 when he wants. When he's on, and he's fantastic. Score from anywhere on the court. And Game 5 is the game that's going to be crucial, and that's where we're going to need to see it. I think most of all, because we go up 3-2 all of a sudden. It's completely different series. Ball's right back in our court.
Right.
So, yeah, but I still have faith in my Celtics. Did I lose a little bit of confidence in last night? I'm not going to lie, yes, because, we basically choked it. I'm not going to understate it. We sold. We were our own worst enemies in that game, and we lost it for ourselves.
I mean, if you're going to lose a game, though, lose a game where Curry has to put up 43 and 10, and Wiggins has to put up 16 and 17.
That's true. I don't think Wiggins puts up 17-16 again.
Right.
I just don't think it happens. Curry's going to get as many points as Curry wants.
Yeah, but he's not. I don't think he grabs 10 rebounds again.
No, absolutely not. That's unacceptable.
Yeah.
That's unacceptable. The man is 6'2", 6'3". Oh my God, that just frustrates me.
Moving on, we had some pretty quick final discussion there, so I think we got some time to discuss some other NBA news. Mm-hmm. So, Nate, last night, you were kind of joking around. Every time Robert Williams would get a swat, you would say, oh, you're better than DeAndre Ayton, don't want DeAndre Ayton. But a lot of teams do want DeAndre Ayton right now, but he does not want to be on the Suns. So it's looking like a sign and trade, something along the lines of that, is probably inevitable. Mm-hmm. Nate, what team do you think should go after DeAndre Ayton this summer?
And also, I just like to clarify, the reason I said that is because everywhere I look on my Celtics fan pages is always, should we trade for Ayton? Should we trade for Ayton? I think I'm pretty content with Robert Williams for the time being. I think I told you, the team I kind of want to see him go to, honestly, is a rebuilding team, and is Detroit. I think he fits really nicely in Detroit. I think also this has the potential, we can move Isaiah Stewart to the bench, and he's been phenomenal when he comes off the bench. That's a really phenomenal backup center. But I think defensively, and I know he's a pretty all-around pretty good player. You know what I mean? 6 foot 11, 7 foot, I believe. He does play solid defense, and he can get a bucket when he wants. I don't know. I just like the the thought of him and Cade, and if Jeremy Grant is still there, and Diallo and Bagley. I don't know. I just think, and then whoever they grab in this year's draft, probably Jaden Ivey or somebody like that. I don't know. I think it'd be cool to see him go to a young team that has a lot of potential to start building up, because the Pistons have been a laughingstock for a while now.
Right.
Ever since, I can't even remember. You get a ring in 2004, and then I don't even remember what year it started to truly decline from there. But I don't know. I think seeing him on a team on a lot of potential, but I think we can both agree that there's several teams that could use him.
Right.
It's like similar to what I think about Miles Turner. Miles Turner could fit in a plethora of different teams. Hornets, Bulls, Mavericks. Like there's several different teams, but I don't think he's going anywhere because the Pacers have made it clear. I think they want him as a part of their future. But I think my point still stands. I think Ayton could go to really any team he wants, and he could fit in really well.
Yeah.
Where do you think he goes? I think Detroit would be a really fun and interesting place for him to land. And they're gonna have to pay him since it's Detroit. You got to overpay for someone to come to come to Detroit, and I think they got the money to get him.
The Mavs are a team he'd fit well on, and they could use him. But I prefer
pulling old Kevin Durant, eh?
I want them to get. I want them to get Rudy Gobert. That's who I want the Mavericks to pick up this summer. I think he'd fit really well with Luka. So
you don't want him to go to the Hawks?
Taking them
like everybody.
A lot of people do want him to go to the Hawks. DeAndre Ayton would look really good in the Hawks too.
Yeah, there's several teams Ayton could fit on.
Right.
Like, just take your pick. Which one do you want to see? Which one do you think is most likely to
I don't
happen?
think he'd fit as well in Atlanta though, because he's not as much of a lob center as like Capella is, and Trae Young really works well in the lob game.
Yeah.
Can DeAndre Ayton come to Brooklyn, please? Brooklyn can use a center if he's willing to take.
Matthew just wants to ship out Nicholas Claxton and some picks.
Is DeAndre Ayton too young to take the veterans minimum already? Because I'll take DeAndre Ayton on for a couple seasons if he wants to. Moving on from
that's
them though.
Fine and dandy, but where do you actually think he goes?
Yeah,
I don't think he goes to Brooklyn.
That's not going to happen. I don't hate the Detroit pick, saying he could end up in Detroit.
I'm not saying it's
nice.
probably unlikely that he ends up in Detroit. I just think I like the prospect of it. And I think you can come at it from both angles. Either a team you think would be exciting to see him on, or a team he goes to.
Spurs could be interesting. Jakob Poeltl's a pretty good center. He's a great defensive center. Very
What do you think about him going to Portland? That's another team that could be interesting.
Yeah, that works in two ways. Because one, he could be around for the long haul to rebuild. And two, he's also shown the ability to be a good win-now center with the Phoenix Suns. Mm-hmm. So pairing him with Damian Lillard, that could be interesting. Then you have him with Anthony Simons down the line, and Simons has shown a lot of good potential. Tough defensive guys like Josh Hart and Joe Ingles, who
and Nasir Little, who's coming into his own.
Yeah. So that could be interesting.
Yeah, these are just interesting. I think I don't know what team realistically.
The Hornets do need a real center.
Him to the Hornets would be nuts, really. Hornets get a center like that, and then all of a sudden, that team looks scary.
Right.
With Bridges, LaMelo, and DeAndre Ayton. Oh my God. Oh my Terry Rozier, like that team looks monstrous.
Phoenix has shown an ability, which I think makes DeAndre Ayton's worth maybe a little bit worse this offseason, is when you're with Chris Paul, he has the ability to make any center look good. Whether it was Bismack Biyombo coming in the regular season and putting up double-doubles, or JaVale McGee coming off the bench, any team can use a JaVale McGee. Every single team in the NBA could use a JaVale McGee. He's just the perfect plug-and-play center. Can catch lobs, can get blocks, plays hard. I just love JaVale McGee. JaVale McGee. The Wizards couldn't really use DeAndre Ayton. I'm just trying to think of rebuilding teams right now. They have Porzingis, and the two of them would not mesh well at all. Magic have a plethora of centers. Mo Bamba.
Magic honestly have too much in their front court. Like the majority of the Magic's talent, whether it's Wagner, Wendell Carter, Jonathan Isaac.
If Jonathan Isaac ever plays another game of basketball again in his life.
I love Jonathan Isaac, but man, I just feel bad.
I just thought of a perfect fit for him.
Who? What is your perfect fit for Ayton?
I would love to see DeAndre Ayton with the Toronto Raptors.
Oh my God.
With Van Fleet, Siakam, that size would be incredible.
Move Siakam back to power forward. Oh my God.
Move Precious Achiuwa onto the bench. You don't need to play Ken Birch anymore. That would be pretty good. And Precious Achiuwa can play some 4 a little bit too.
Again, that's a fun team. I think that's a very fun and interesting place. With Fred VanVleet, Siakam, Gary Trent, and Ayton, I think that. Ooh.
And OG Anunoby, Scotty Barnes.
Yeah, that team looks nasty.
Although Toronto might be going into a more Boston type of play style where they switch everything because they're just trying to load up on those 6'9" athletic wings.
Well, I mean, that's the way that I think most teams are going to go at some point.
Right.
I mean, a little less traditional, more modern style of ball, very switching.
Another team I'd love to see him on. I wanted John Collins to go to the Thunder last year. I think it would have been awesome to see
Ayton
him.
to the Thunder?
I mean, those OKC fans at Chesapeake Energy Arena, or it just got renamed. I don't remember what it got renamed to.
I mean, I think they got Chet Holmgren in the draft, so I don't think them grabbing Ayton is what's going to happen.
It would just be fun to see Shai Gilgeous-Alexander get a real center. Because I still have a soft spot for the Thunder. They were my first ever favorite team with Kevin Durant. And I want to see him do well. And I like Lou Dort. I like Shai. They got really good young talent.
They got really good pieces and a plethora of picks. So their time is coming. Yeah, they're still rebuilding, but their time is coming.
If they could just get a John Collins, a DeAndre Ayton, something like that, they could... I think a young, exciting team like that plays with a lot of energy could easily be around 500. With the fans' support like OKC has. But Sam Presti would not want to do that, I don't think, because they would be too good. And they would rather build through the draft for whatever reason. DeAndre Ayton's a player you rebuild around. He's probably better than anyone that'll get drafted this year. Or he's going to be better this season than anyone that gets drafted this season. So, I don't know. And what are the odds he goes to OKC? Slim to none.
Again, slim to none. I think he goes to the Pistons. It's just what we think. Because right now, all we're hearing is that he's most likely out. We're not hearing who's interested at this current moment. We don't know who's most likely. Once we start hearing, I'm sure anybody that's looking for a center.
The Clippers. He would be incredible on the Clippers.
That's true. Oh my goodness. Yeah, he's just he can plug into really any system.
Yeah,
really.
We could name basically every roster in the NBA.
Yeah. Well, I kind of hope he don't go somewhere like Sacramento. If he has the choice, please don't go to Sacramento.
I think Sabonis would not be happy about that either.
No.
Being
I don't think they play well next together.
Well, he'd have to be shoehorned in next to another 5, like he was with Miles Turner.
Yeah, that's true.
And Rashawn Holmes is a pretty solid center. I mean, obviously Ayton is better, but you'd have a pretty loaded front court right there. Plus De'Aaron Fox. I don't know. Maybe that's kind of solid.
I mean, it's solid maybe, but there's just something about the mismanagement of the Sacramento Kings that, like...
He would be nice in Indiana alongside Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah, but the only... Again, it's similar to Detroit. The only way I think he ends up in Indiana is if he's paid a boatload of money.
Right. Yeah. So we mentioned the Hornets when we were talking about potential suitors for DeAndre Ayton. How do you feel about the Kenny Atkinson signing?
I think Kenny Atkinson is good. I mean, like I think it's a solid signing. I mean, this is the same guy that took the Blazers to the Western Conference Finals.
No, it wasn't. That was Terry Stotts.
Oh, that was Terry Stotts, wasn't it? Oh, shit.
Hey, I'll talk for a little bit while Nathan puts his thoughts together.
I forgot about Terry Stotts.
I'm a big Kenny Atkinson fan because he was the coach that made the Brooklyn Nets attractive to Kevin Durant. He was the coach that instilled that hustle in Brooklyn with the D'Angelo Russell, Jared Dudley team. I don't know why Jared Dudley's the second player that comes to mind, but D'Angelo Russell, Spencer Dinwiddie, Karis LeVert, Jared Allen. That squad of guys that were just young and chippy. Kenny Atkinson was the perfect coach. They had so much fun on the bench. They were just a really good young team. They got beat by in 5 against the kind of, in retrospect, super team Philadelphia 76ers with Butler and Embiid, Simmons, and Tobias Harris and J.J. Redick, which is understandable. That was a really good team.
No, I get it. Those Brooklyn teams were really fun to watch.
They were fun to watch. They seemed to all like each other. They played hard. They played for their coach. They played for each other. And I'm excited to see that culture brought to Charlotte. I wish Brooklyn had never let go of them. I think Brooklyn wanted a coach.
Yeah, you wish you have Kenny Atkinson right at this current moment.
But they want a coach. I think Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving that'll wear the little kid gloves a little bit more with them, like Steve Nash will. He's not really going to get mad at them and challenge them on defense or even on offense.
Well, they also were the ones that said they brought him in and said they don't really see them as having a head coach.
Right.
I think if you remember that.
I do. But I think Kenny Atkinson's going to fit really well. As a basketball fan, I want it to be Mike D'Antoni. I wanted to see LaMelo Ball and Miles Bridges playing NBA Jam in a 7 seconds or less offense. I think that would have been a lot of fun. I don't know if they really would have improved because their offense is already really good and their defense is terrible. With Kenny Atkinson, they might not be a good defense, but they'll at least try on defense. I think they'll probably be able to finish top half.
Infinite improvement above James Borrego. No offense to James Borrego.
James Borrego did really solid stuff with Charlotte, though. Getting them into the play-in tournament 2 years in a row with a not incredibly loaded roster.
Yeah, but I think Kenny Atkinson takes them past the play-in. Gets them into the actual...
I don't know. The East is pretty good, and it's going to be pretty good again next year.
The East is pretty good, and also the West. I want to say this is the first time in a while where both conferences are really, really stacked on both sides.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying I'm not sold on Charlotte definitely being a playoff team next year because
I think I am. Yeah, with Kenny Atkinson. Yeah, I think I am. I think they have the talent for sure to do it, and I think they played really good this season with Borrego, and like you said, I mean Kenny Atkinson brings in a great
well,
culture.
I don't think Miami falls off. I don't think Brooklyn falls off. The Celtics, Milwaukee, Atlanta, Toronto's only going to get better. Philly. I'm for some reason blanking on who the 8th team in the Eastern Conference players was this year. Cleveland did not make the playoffs.
Well, I know that, but I'm just saying that. I thought we were just listing teams.
Cleveland's going to get better.
Mm-hmm. So, I think this is Charlotte better. I mean, for all I know, hey,
the Bulls. That's the team I was missing. The Bulls are going to get better.
You never know, man. Maybe they do make the playoffs, and I'm right.
Maybe so. But yeah, I think it's a good signing. They're going to play hard. Their defense will definitely improve. I think the thing that will improve their defense most, though, is getting a real center, aside from like Mason Plumlee or Montrezl Harrell, who's basically an offensive-only player.
Mason Plumlee.
I mean, the Plum Dog Millionaire is a good player. He's a solid center, but not really what you want there. You'd rather have a good DeAndre Ayton type of guy, someone that will at least play some defense, because Harrell's not giving you any defense either on the back line. So, moving on to some other coaching vacancies, this will probably be our last topic of the vid. We got Quinn Snyder out in Utah. So, Nate, what's happening in Utah? Where's Quinn Snyder heading? Just where are you taking this topic to?
I mean, I don't know where. Utah, I believe we went through it last night, right? And I believe Utah is the only real coaching vacancy left.
Right.
I think what you said makes sense. I think maybe he takes this year off to kind of get his bearings, and then he'll come back, and I think he'll get a head coaching job somewhere, wherever that'll be, because he is good enough to be a head coach.
Probably
in his
San
league.
Antonio, I think, is what I've seen.
That'd be a great spot for him.
He's a pop disciple.
It's time to how dare you? I just think it's time for Utah to blow it up. I mean, it's obviously just not successful. They're a really good regular season team, and then the postseason they're just absolutely just awful. They can't get past really anyone. So either Rudy Gobert or Donovan Mitchell is most likely gone this season too. So
I've heard they're not fielding calls on Donovan Mitchell, which I think is the wrong decision. I might be in the minority on this one, but I think it's easier to build around a Rudy Gobert type player than it is to build around a Donovan Mitchell.
Like a staunch defensive center down low.
Because he hasn't shown. Donovan Mitchell has not really played incredibly well with Mike Conley. The efficiency hasn't gone up playing with a real point guard, and Donovan Mitchell still likes to have the ball in his hands a lot. Mm-hmm. I think a player like that is more difficult to build around, and also that type of arch type of a player, the explosive shooting guards who will give you 25 to 30 a night are a dime a dozen in the NBA. Whether it's like a CJ McCollum, a Trae Young type player, Anthony Edwards. There are a lot of players in that Donovan Mitchell mold right now that may even be better than him one day. Whether it's young rookies like the Anthony Edwards, who's not a rookie, but young players such as Edwards. Mm-hmm. So I just think that's an easier player to find than Donovan Mitchell. And he's not improved on defense. His efficiency is not really improved at all. And the easiest shots in basketball is a layup. Layups and dunks. Easiest shots in basketball for an NBA player to make. If you can make those shots impossible, which is basically what Rudy Gobert does, even though he might not be the most switchable player in the league, then you hold on to somebody like that. Because no one makes those shots more difficult than Rudy Gobert.
I mean, I know we're going into a more small ball, switchable type of role, but I still think for a dominant rim protector like him, there's always going to be room for someone who can play down low and absolutely crush the paint. Someone like a Robert Williams, somebody like a Rudy Gobert, who's absolute beast of a rim protector. So I agree with you. Yeah, I was for sure going into this that Donovan Mitchell was getting moved over Rudy Gobert, but I think it's looking like Rudy Gobert is more likely gone than Donovan Mitchell, which is
and honestly, I'm happy for that. I want to see Rudy go. I mean, everybody seems to hate Rudy Gobert, but I still think he's a really good player, and I want to see him go to a franchise that utilizes him the right way, like Dallas, where he can catch a couple lobs and not have to be the second best offensive player on the team.
I mean, give Luka an actual center, and I'm excited to see how that turns out.
The league is over.
Yeah, not Dwight Powell, not Marquise Chris.
Right.
give him somebody like Rudy Gobert would be very fun. And I think, Mavericks were already in the Western Conference Finals, so give them Rudy Gobert, and I think they could potentially make the finals.
That's crazy to think about. Luka might be there next year already with that Mavericks team. So I think we're going to call it there. Talk about Utah, Charlotte, and of course we got to get into those NBA Finals. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We'll be back at you next time. Maybe, I don't know if we'll get one more in between, but before the finals ends, we'll have to see how these next couple of games go.
But comment who you got winning the finals and how many games.
And hopefully next time you see us, Nathan will be a very happy camper because Boston may be up 3-2 or even be the champion.
I mean, one can only hope, Matt.
One can only hope. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you next time on the debate.
Bye, guys.